Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt, well, nothing? As if there was no one truly behind them. A number of spiritual seekers, mystics, and esoteric researchers believe there is a hidden reality beneath the surface of our social world. A reality where not all human beings are as they seem. A hidden reality that no one talks about these days. But knowing this reality helps us to understand why we have people in the world today who lack empathy, compassion, and have little, if no conscience to do with their negative and often destructive actions. Connect to your higher self. Focus to motivate and enrich your life, and inspire others to find their true path. Join me on a journey to discover your power and higher purpose. Welcome to the controversial and mysterious topic of NPCs, non-player characters, also known as soulless humans. This idea, popularized in recent years by figures like well-known psychic healer Dolores Cannon, has roots that stretch back to ancient Gnosticism, Hermeticism, and the teachings of Rudolf Steiner. We're exploring the nature, function, and spiritual significance of these soulless beings and what their presence reveals about our reality and ourselves. Stay with us to the end to find out what purpose they serve in our lives, for there is a reason for them being with us. What are non-player characters? NPCs. In popular culture, the term NPC comes from video games, non-player characters who fill out the world but aren't conscious participants. In spiritual terms, NPCs are human-like entities who appear fully functional, have personalities, jobs, families, and emotions, but lack an individuated soul. They operate on pre-programmed scripts that are said to be part of the Matrix, and do not seem capable of deep self-awareness, higher thought, or true inner transformation. Dolores Cannon, through her hypnotherapy work, encountered what she called background characters. According to her sessions, these entities are energetic constructs, animated by the matrix of reality, not possessing a higher self, not being plugged into the spiritual evolution cycle. They exist to populate the world, provide context and friction for the growth of real soul-bearing individuals. They are essentially placeholders, human simulations that mimic consciousness but do not generate it. The Gnostic origins, Hylics, psychics, and Pneumatics. But this idea is far older than the New Age movement. In early Christian Gnostic teachings, humanity was divided into three categories: Pneumatics, psychics, and Hylics. Pneumatics were the spiritual elite. They were those with awakened souls connected to the divine realm of spirit. Psychics were soul-bearing individuals still on the path, caught between material and spiritual forces. Hylics, from the Greek word for matter, were the lowest category of humans. These were beings tied entirely to the material world, devoid of spiritual awareness, driven by base instincts, incapable of spiritual growth in this lifetime. The Hylic human is the ancient equivalent of today's NPC, animated, reactive, seemingly normal, but stuck in a material reality that they are not even conscious of, since they are fundamentally disconnected from spiritual reality. Organic portals and background beings. This idea has evolved into what some call organic portals. These are people whose consciousness is not individualized, but is part of a collective pool, or the group physical or material matrix. They can act as vessels or conduits for external energies, thoughts, or even entities. In the movie The Matrix, we see this dramatized when Agent Smith can possess any ordinary person still plugged into the matrix. This illustrates the concept perfectly. Unless a person has activated their own sovereignty of consciousness, they are subject to manipulation by collective, unconscious forces. Organic portals are not necessarily evil. They serve a purpose in the larger evolutionary design. They offer resistance, contrast, and reflection for soul-bearing individuals. Like mirrors, they show us our own blind spots, biases, and growth areas. In the process, they can begin to develop the spark of a soul, though this transformation is rare and slow. Rudolf Steiner and the eyeless human. Rudolf Steiner, founder of anthroposophy, also spoke of a category of human beings who lack an individualized spiritual eye, which is the essence of the self, or higher ego. According to Steiner, these eyeless humans do not incarnate with a fully awakened individuality. Instead, their bodies and personalities are animated by elemental beings from the nature kingdoms. Beings such as the air beings called sylphs, earth beings called gnomes, water elementals called undines, or fire elementals called salamanders. In his lectures, Steiner explained that these eyeless humans are more like projections, temporary expressions of the elemental world given human form. While they walk among us and mimic ordinary human behavior, they lack the inner fire of selfhood. This makes them highly susceptible to groupthink, propaganda, and unconscious manipulation. Steiner emphasized that this was not a moral failing. These beings serve a role. They create the backdrop of society. They fill out the ranks of bureaucracy, media, entertainment, and corporate life, offering predictable, stable, materialistically inclined behaviors that help real, evolving souls grow through contrast. Signs of soullessness. But how can one identify an NPC or an organic portal? There are no foolproof methods, and it's crucial to avoid falling into elitism or judgment. However, certain behavioral patterns may indicate a lack of soul presence. Inability to question dominant narratives. Lack of empathy or authentic emotional depth. Absence of self-reflection or personal growth. Mechanical routines in speech. Mimicking others rather than original thought. These individual traits don't automatically mean someone is soulless. They may simply mean a person is deeply conditioned or wounded. But taken together, they suggest a consciousness that is either undeveloped or uninhabited. We should remember too that eyeless beings don't have their higher centers opened, so they rely on others for empathy. That comes from the heart. Higher forms of communication that come from the throat center, intuition that is from our third eye center, and connection to higher sources which comes from the crown center. Because they only have their lower three material centers opened, they mimic the higher behaviors of those around them so that they can fit in. Why are they here? The presence of NPCs or Hylics is not a cosmic accident. In a world designed for soul evolution, these background characters provide essential resistance. They provoke emotional reactions, moral challenges, and philosophical dilemmas. They also help stabilize the fabric of the physical realm, offering continuity and cohesion. From the soul's point of view, they are training dummies, sparring partners, and friction generators. Their role is to sharpen, our discernment, strengthen our intuition, and challenge us to remain loving and awake in a world that often seems asleep. Compassion and boundaries. It's easy to feel superior once we start seeing these patterns, but superiority is a trap. True spiritual maturity calls for compassion, even toward those who appear soulless, especially those expressing lack of conscience or empathy towards other people's suffering, except their own. After all, we too were once in embryonic states of consciousness. However, compassion doesn't mean martyrdom. It's important to set boundaries with those who drain your energy or cannot reciprocate emotional or spiritual depth. Engaging with organic portals can be exhausting, especially for empaths. Be discerning. Share your energy wisely. Higher purpose, awakening from the matrix. Ultimately, the presence of soulless humans points to a deeper truth. This reality is a matrix, a simulation designed for soul growth. The goal is not to escape it, but to wake up within it, to become lucid, to embody the full force of your divine self and become a conscious co-creator. The NPCs, organic portals, and eyeless humans are part of the dream. They serve the dreamer, you. But you must decide. Will you stay asleep and play the game as written, or will you wake up and write your own script? The secrets of the soulless humans are not meant to dehumanize, but to illuminate. They are here to reflect, to challenge, and ultimately to assist us in remembering who we are. In the end, it is not about who has a soul and who doesn't. It's about how fully we are living from ours. It's not our role to judge them. It's our role to see what hidden shadows they expose to us in our own lives. They serve a purpose, whether they be friends, family, or the politicians that rule us, even if the purpose is only to show to us, like Agent Smith showed to Neo in The Matrix, that we are more powerful in this world than we think we are. If this message resonated with you, subscribe for more content that helps you awaken, evolve, and embody your highest self. Until next time, stay sovereign, stay compassionate, and stay awake.